Chapter 10 The Secret Staircase. If Caroline had ever considered skipping school, this was the time. It would have been so easy to just walk to the edge of the schoolyard and keep going. She could tell Beth and Eddie about it later. But the more she thought about it, the more she realized that one of two things could happen, and probably both. Number one, Miss Applebaum would realize she was missing and would call home. Number two, Mr. Oldicker would wonder why she wasn't in school and might even phone the school office. She had to wait. She had promised Wally she wouldn't tell her sisters, but her shoelaces were crossed when she said it. And everybody knows that if something is crossed when you promise, it isn't a promise at all. At lunchtime, she sought out Beth and Eddie and told them what she had learned from Wally. "Let's go to the bookstore today," she said. "Two of us can be lookouts, and the other can climb through the trap door." She hoped Eddie would say that Caroline, could be the one to go down. "We'll do it, but not this afternoon," said Eddie. "I've got to write a report on Balboa." "And I'm not going anywhere until I finish this book," said Beth. "Caroline, you should read it. Land of the Leeches. It'll make your skin crawl." Caroline's heart sank. "How many more chapters?" she asked. "I just started. 16, I think." Caroline was dismayed. She couldn't count on her sisters. Hadn't she spent a whole hour Sunday afternoon batting balls just so Eddie could practice her pitching? Now, when she needed a little help, where were Beth and Eddie? In the next 30 seconds, Caroline decided two things. Number one, she could not stand knowing that the trap door was there in the bookstore and she couldn't go through it today. Number two, she would do it alone and not tell anyone about it until it was over. Her mind raced on ahead of her. The Secret Staircase, starring Caroline Lenore Malloy. What a wonderful movie that would make. In fact, getting ready for the part was almost as much fun as doing it. First, the costume. Dark. No, not dark. Mousy. Sort of brownish grayish. Something to blend in with the woodwork. Nothing too light or too dark, too loud or too dramatic. A pair of faded jeans, an old jacket that Beth had given her, worn out sneakers, that should do it. What should she take? A flashlight to look for the bones once she got down there, a screwdriver in case the trapdoor was screwed shut. The bell rang, and Caroline dreamily took her seat again behind Wally, hardly even noticing him. When an actress has been given a role, she in turn gives her heart to her performance, Caroline knew. A role like this required a full range of acting ability. Cautious excitement, Caroline wrote it down in the back of her spelling paper. She would leave to begin the adventure like Joan of Arc, going off into battle, confident that she could discover the Abaguchi's bones. Deep foreboding. That was what her face would have to show next. Caroline wrote that down too. She imagined that Wally's back was a mirror and she was studying her own face in it. The forehead would be frowning. The teeth would be set, clenched perhaps, eyes narrowing, thinking. And then, of course, when she reached the bottom of the secret staircase and discovered she was in the Abaguchi's lair, there would be sudden terror. Caroline bolted back in her seat, making her eyes wild, huge. Her lips would be slightly parted. Her throat would be... "Caroline Malloy, do you want to see the nurse?" came Miss Applebaum's voice. Caroline blinked. Where was she? What was she doing here in the classroom? Where was the secret staircase? "Do you have a pain somewhere?" the teacher asked. "No." "You looked as though you might be having an attack of some sort." The other children giggled. Wally's shoulders were shaking with laughter, but Caroline didn't even care. "Do you think you might be able to take part in our geography discussion?" the teacher asked. "We were discussing petroleum products, Caroline. Can you tell us where in the world we might find the most oil?" "At the bottom of the secret staircase," said Caroline dreamily.